Hi there, and welcome to Graham's Guide, Friday Live, this Friday, the 19th of January. Thanks for joining me today. Today, we're going to be looking at your results for assignment two and how you can improve on your results for assignment three. And the reason why I say improve your results is because my presumption is that regardless of the score you received, you would like to get a higher grade, and you probably believe that what you submitted was deserving of a higher grade. Now, it's an interesting concept because in my um, discussion board post about my first assignment that I got back, I got a credit for it, and I believed I deserved much better. But later on, I went back and I've had a look at that assignment now with the knowledge and experience I have of academic writing, and I'm kind of surprised that I actually got a credit for it. I didn't really think it was that good after all. Now with the experience of, that was 20 years ago, more than. So look, marks are an interesting thing. That they marks are not who you are. They just represent your ability to respond to the marking criteria. And I can see that many people, in fact, most people, were able to demonstrate their understanding of the key concepts uh, that were provided in this unit, but not everybody was able to um, present that knowledge in the way that was required for the assignment. Some people did extensive research, but they may not have touched on the specific areas of research that were required. For example, if you did not speak about a code of ethics, if you didn't cite a code of ethics, if you cited a code of ethics that was not relevant for the case study you chose, then that may have reduced your grade, or rather prevented you from receiving a higher grade. Some people cited research about codes of ethics that would have been off the track. We needed you to um, be in the eyes or be in the shoes of um, the main character in the case study, and if you were that person, what is the code of ethics that you need to be guided by? And so, in the case of AJ, for example, he he's teaching. He's a teacher, and so a code of ethics in teaching was the relevant code of ethics, preferably in Australia. And then, if you wanted to, you could also, for a higher grade, um, maybe you provided two citations, a citation to an Australian a general code of ethics, but then you may have wanted to provide another citation to a code of ethics for your particular state. And in one case, someone posted um, a code of conduct for a specific school. How interesting is that? So, specific schools, high schools or private schools, they may also have their own um, code of conduct or code of ethics, and that would be seen as wider research. Obviously, citing the Australian or Victorian um, association's code of ethics was the best code of ethics to cite. But if you cited an additional code of ethics, for example, for a school, then that may have improved your grade because you've done wider research. But that needs to be secondary to the primary research that was required. All right, look, I've probably babbled on about that long enough. Let me go um, into group 20 today, and I'm going to need to just reduce my. Okay, so here we are in group 20. Just quickly, I'll just go into assignment two and just give a quick rundown there of what was needed. Of course, I provided a lot of guidance here. Specifically, it was important to reach the word count. Many of the students who were unable to pass the assignment, the main reason was because the word count was not reached. As I said, if you need to uh, have original writing, your own original writing of at least 1,350 words. So if you didn't reach that minimum criteria, then you would not have passed. Some other guidance that I provided here was the structure. There's a suggested structure here that I mentioned, and that's these 4 parts, to discuss it in 4 parts. So, part one was the ethical dilemma and the stakeholder analysis of about 375 words, gave a guidance here on the word count that the learning designers were looking for. And also, I provided a suggested source, a code of conduct, or a code of ethics, or a similar professional standard. And then in part two, communication, you really needed to ensure that you cited communication theory, and I provided some options here, Baldovino or Brown. In part three, you needed to cite both the future work skills report, but you also needed to cite a professional standards document, because you needed to um, identify relative skills for the future work skills document and discuss how they help in meeting professional standards and resolving the ethical issues. So you needed to cite both future work skills and a code of conduct in part three. And finally, in part four, a little bit more in depth, citing a code of conduct and extra marks if you cited a specific clause within a code of conduct. That was how you could increase your grade to a distinction or a high distinction, depending on the level and depth of analysis and evaluation. So that was how you could receive higher grades in assignment 2. Let's now go to assignment 3 and have a quick look there. This is your upcoming assignment. And again, I provided guidance here. If you've been following along since the beginning of the teaching period, in week one or two, I already encouraged you to write your introduction and for this assignment. So we went into Academic Writer. You can also create it in either Academic Writer or Microsoft Word. But I encouraged you to write your introduction, and in there, I asked you to start to formulate the topics that you were going to talk about, and specifically your unit goal and your course goal. So it was important to mention your unit goal and course goal in an introduction back then, so that you knew what you were working towards now as you begin to write it up. I'm just looking at the other guidance I provided here. Here is the suggested structure. You would start with an introduction, and then you would write your body paragraphs. There will be 5 body paragraphs. To increase your grade from assignment 2, make sure that you, for each one of these body paragraphs, you include a citation to literature. So when you're talking about time management skills, you might like to talk about, well, you need to cite literature. I'm not going to give you any hints necessarily here. You can ask questions, or you can let me know what literature you're thinking about using for time management skills, and I can let you know if you're on the right track or not. Just ask here in the discussions. And then when you're talking about your paragraph on self-efficacy, again, you need to include another citation there. So for each one of these 5, you need at least 1 citation. If you're able to write clearly and concisely, then you could include a second citation to one or more of these. And providing a second citation to a contrasting or comparison piece of literature or source, that adds to your analysis and evaluation, and therefore it can increase your grade. I wouldn't do more than 2 for each one of these. Like, for example, for time management, you can cite 1 source or 2 sources. Citing 3 sources it would be too much. You wouldn't be able to provide the depth of analysis that would be required. You only have a limited word count, and you can't adequately analyze three citations, three sources for one of these topics. But you could squeeze in two and at least one um, to ensure that you're meeting the marking criteria. That's probably all I need to say today. Look, watching this unit goals and unit and course goals video will be very helpful if you haven't chosen your unit and course goals. I notice down here I've put a goal planner, and I notice not everyone has completed the goal planner. That's okay, providing that you know what your goals are and the goals are um, on track with what we're expecting you to choose as goals. And the only way you're going to know if you're on track is by following the guidance provided. And I provided very specific guidance here in this video on how to choose your unit and course goals. So I highly recommend watching this video to make sure that for those last two paragraphs, the paragraph on unit goal and the paragraph on course goal, that you make sure you're on track. Watch this video. If you have any questions, ask them here in the discussion board and I'll be happy to answer. Alrighty, well, that's probably enough for me today. Congratulations on completing assignment 2. They were excellent submissions. It was a challenging first assignment for many students, especially if you haven't done any academic writing before. So if your mark was not what you wanted it to be, don't feel bad. I think I mentioned in my email that the average grade for assignment 2 across about 700 students, the average grade was about 55 or 56%. So if you got higher than 56%, then you would received a grade that was higher than the average grade. If you received a grade that was lower than 55%, it was probably related to not meeting the word count or having a low word count, um, not using enough source material to support what you're talking about. The easy way to increase your grade is by citing sources, citing relevant sources to support your discussion. As I said, ask questions in the discussion boards and I'll be happy to answer them all this week. Of course, I'll see you there in the discussions. Thanks for joining me today. Bye for now. Oh, I missed the button. There it is. Oh, bye for now.